Leo and Leodex, but Leodex is different. It's a different kind of metric, but it's the same one. The amount of users that use the platform. So we have had a very, very good you could call it resurgence in monthly active users because we were around 1,600 a few months ago, and then we kind of went cooled off a little bit, where like 10-15%, which is normal, by the way, in any kind of platform or even charts or things like that. There's always a cool down period, and you cannot always have an up trend. Um, but that being said, we are recovering that uptrend in the sense that we are 1,100 monthly active users by June 19. So that puts us in around 1,517 users, if the trend continues, by the end of the month. So that's pretty good compared to the previous 2 months, which we had in April 1,370, and in May we had 1,317. So that's a good amount of growth. As Carl said a couple of days ago, the goal is to grow 20% month over month uh, until December 2024. So that's in terms of monthly active users in total. But we also have threaders, and we are right now at 727. That's kind of low compared to the previous months, but we are still on a trend to overtake the previous month, May, which we finished with 930. So we're doing good. And the key metric here, well, not the key metric, the star metric right now is the amount of content creators. This one was a very, very bad metric of 6 months ago because we were around 400, 500 users per month. And right now we are topping 800 users by June 19. So that means that we will probably end up with around 1,100 or something like that. Like the trend is not accurate, it's just like an estimate of how we can finish the month if we continue the trend. So that would put us at our best month ever by 200 users compared to May to March, which was 909 users total. So June could be our best month ever by a lot in terms of content creators. And in terms of people commenting, the ones who engage in other people's posts or their own posts in the comment section, we are at 322, and that puts us around the median of the last 6 months. So there's no growth there, but there's no stagnation. So we are on the right track, and we're pulling another metric as of this week, which is the amount of threads, no matter who sent them, but the amount of threads uh, in total. So as of yesterday, we had 53,000 threads, and I still have to pull the data from previous months. I do have, for example, May, we had at the same time, we had 38,000. So we are pretty good compared to May. Compared to April, we had 40,000. So we are still pretty good. But March, we had around, it was 45,000 at the same date compared. So I don't know if April, May were an outlier or if March was an outlier because I still need to pull January and February. But that being said, June is our best month compared to the previous Q. So we are.
That's awkward. Well, the audio, the recording is going to have a lot of missing airtime. Hopefully, you guys can now hear me on YouTube. Let me know. I'm gonna see if I can hear myself. A lot of missing. All right, I can hear myself. So I think we're good now on YouTube. For some reason, my mic wasn't being picked up by the YouTube stream. So all right, now Tasha's saying that spaces are acting bad. All right, well, let me know. If you guys can't hear anything, let me know. Now they're saying no audio on X or YouTube. All right. Yeti. All right, we got all the audio. Eric, can you try talking?
Hey, hey.
I can hear everything on YouTube. All right, audio's back on YouTube. I can hear you on X. All right, I think we're good. So yeah, you gotta love having like 12 streams open and nothing works. So it looks like we're good now. Anyways, I was talking about long form. We've got a lot of updates, but that's not really this format's not really meant to talk about the technical stuff, but a lot of updates coming for long form, and it's going to only improve from here. And I'm happy to see that the content creator numbers are growing month over month. Like Eric said, my main metric for the team right now is growing the monthly active users by 20% every single month. So we actually need to grow. We need to compound every single month by 20%. So at the start of this month, we were at about 1,300 monthly active users from May. And in June, we need to do 1,580 monthly active users in order to grow 20% from that. And then in July, uh, we'll have to grow another 20%. So 20% from 1,580. So if we and the reason why we need to hit this growth rate is so that we could be on track for 10,000 miles by December, which is the obviously the overarching goal. So it is crunch time. It is really important for us to start taking growth extra seriously. I mean, it's not like we weren't taking it seriously before, but we were heavily focused on just bug fixes, getting the UI into a really good state, improving the onboarding process, et cetera. So there's been a lot of key pieces that have needed to fall into place to get us to where we are now. So I'm pretty confident that we're at that place from a technical perspective, and that we're constantly improving on a daily basis. So if you guys and Sunseeker's been doing a great job of this, if you guys can onboard like friends, family, random people you see on the street, whoever, try to get them to sign up for Inleo, and if possible, record their phone or their computer screen with your phone. And if there's any issues, then send me the recording so that I can see what happened, because it is really hard for us to test the onboarding process because there's a lot of different variables. There's just so many different things that need to be tested, and it's impossible for us as a team to test every single edge case. So like if someone signs up on an iPhone 10, on the Google Chrome browser, and they also happen to have an old version of Google Chrome downloaded, like you can see like there are thousands of combinations of devices, browsers, and then you've also got all the different sign up types, whether they're using X, whether they're using Google, whether they're using their phone number. So like testing all these different variants is the hard part. So we really need help with that. So if you guys can just, even if, I mean, I would say even if they don't plan on being active, like let's say it's your grandma and she's 90 years old and she's not going to be active on Inleo, but you still grab her phone and just say, hey, can you try signing up and let me watch while you do it? Just so that you can see it, happen. I've been doing this with more people as well. I just helped a friend sign up yesterday, and he actually was having issues signing up with X. So it led me to find a bug with his specific device type and trying to sign up with X. And then I sent it to the devs, and we already fixed it. So finding this stuff is really important. But anyways, that's my rant. I think that's one of our key kind of bottlenecks in terms of growing our monthly active users is getting people from the outside and making sure that they're, the process of them going from not having an account to having an account needs to be as seamless as possible. So that is a heavy focus of mine right now. Yeah, Sunseeker saying different devices, different browsers, internet connection, and so on. I had 100% success, and I'm assuming you're saying of the onboarding. Um, so yeah, it's definitely improved. I mean, we've made a ton of updates specifically from Sunseeker. I mean, we made probably 30 different updates to the onboarding process and um fixed a bunch of issues that she found specifically. So there's been a lot of updates and a lot more that I want to do to make sure, again, like it's hard enough to convince someone that they should create an account on Inleo and give it a shot, and then to have them run into any issue whatsoever during the onboarding process is an extreme problem. And this is why Hive hasn't really been growing over the years, is because not only do you have to convince someone to come, then you have to walk them through an onboarding process that is difficult to understand, tends to be buggy, and is just arduous in so many different ways. So that's the thing that we're trying to solve for right now, and just make it as easy as possible. Like, I just want it to be, you click sign up with X, click an extra button to confirm it, and then you're signed in. You enter a username and then you're signed in. And we've built that and it's already in place. Now we just need to work out any remaining kinks and then we're good. We're off to the races. 10,000 monthly active users is, by the way, really not very many. I mean, if you think about it, I actually was just watching an interview with Elon that he gave, I think like 3 or 4 days ago, and now that X is not a public company anymore, they don't have to publish data. But he said that right now X has about 500 to 600 million monthly active users. So, half a billion monthly active users is quite a lot. And Inleo being at 1,300 MAUs and our target being 10,000, I feel like it's very achievable with the current state of the UI. I think if we didn't add any more features, we could still hit 10,000 MAUs and have a very happy user base. Obviously, we're going to keep adding new stuff. But I'm very happy with the current state of things. And now I think it's time to just really dial in on the onboarding in general. So I put out this thread a couple days ago, and I also have been telling the team this. If you measure the value of a monthly active user, and I actually named the space after this because I think we all should start thinking about monthly active users in this way. I think it's really motivating, and it kind of pushes you in the right direction and the right frame of mind. Each Now that we have about 1,350 or so monthly active users. And if you take that against the Leo market cap, when I calculated this, it came out to about $1,300 per MAU. So each user on Inleo is worth $1,300 to the Leo market cap. So when you think about it this way, and I put this in my thread, if each one of the existing monthly active users, and let's just use 1,300 monthly active users and $1,300 per monthly active user, as our metrics, because it makes it a little easier. If 1,300 people onboarded one person per month, which would be 1,300 more people per month, that would be $1.7 million in market cap added to the Leo token every single month. So it would, I mean, obviously the first month that would mean a doubling of our market cap. So I think the value of a monthly active user is an important thing to really understand, because you start to realize that you may right now think, oh, it doesn't matter if I onboard one person off the street and they become active on Inleo. Like, that's not, we need to think about how to onboard 1,000 people. And I actually think that that's the wrong framework. I think every single user matters. And I think valuing it based on, the head count is a great way to think about it that way. And really value the one-to-one interaction where you can say, all right, if I onboard 10 people, that's how valuable it is to the platform. And that's, 10 people is not that many people. So, Simple Game said, no way task is only worth 1,300. Yeah, I mean, obviously these are metrics that a lot of other platforms use, and it's definitely an interesting way to frame things and to think about things. Because obviously, like, if you looked at X and looked at the value of each user, it would be a lot lower. I mean, at 500 million, I don't know what X is worth right now because they're no longer public. I think when Elon bought it, it was like $50 billion. That's what he paid for it, I'm pretty sure. So, that values each monthly active user at what, $10? So is it 10 or 100? I hate doing math on air. You guys can correct me. You guys can correct me in the Threadcast because I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about it. So, each MAU is a lot more valuable on Inleo than it is on X. So we can pay, like, if we have to pay to get a monthly active user, which means we have to do advertising or we have to pay for a sponsorship or whatever, if you value each MAU at $1,300, then anything you pay under 1,300 is technically a good trade. So obviously we're going to try to have a user acquisition cost that's cheaper than that. Um, but again, this is just a framework that I started looking at monthly active users with, and realized that this is really important for us. Each MAU is extremely important to get. And when you actually think about how we monetize a monthly active user, think about this. Each one of you guys, if you subscribe for premium for a whole year, it's $100, right? If you do the yearly option. So if we were to actually try to extract the $1,300, it would take essentially 10 years of you being premium. And that's if we only count premium, we're not counting, Leo decks, we're not counting using Leo bridges, all the other forms of delegations, all the other forms of value accrual that Leo also has for our user base. We're not even counting all of that stuff. So if a MAU can be basically monetized for 10 years, then it turns into actual real value. So while this is a metric based on, literally just taking the current monthly active users divided by the current market cap, I actually think it has some basis in reality. And starting to look at things in this framework allows you to realize that if I go out and onboard one person a day or one person a week or one person a month, that adds a lot of value to this ecosystem.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like Carl said, the fact that there's only a certain amount of users on Hive and on Inleo, every user becomes a small fraction of growth. Whereas, for example, on X, like Carl said, you have this, I don't know how many that is, like 300 million users or something like that. Like one user might not make the difference. But in here, and with our flywheel model, one user actually makes a huge difference. So it's just a matter of understanding that, as Taskmaster loves to say, and I really like that approach. You are an owner of the platform. You are not a user only. You're an owner as well. So every user that you bring in gives a lot more value than in any other platform out there.
Yeah, and Task, I'm sure will remind everybody, and I'm actually starting to feel like we're giving him a good idea for a blog post of some kind. But he'll frequently remind you that you are an owner of this platform. So we are all owners. And if you start to think about things in this way, you're adding $1,300 in value with each person that you onboard to a platform that you own. So if everybody starts to think in this way, it really, you can see things grow very quickly and exponentially. Um, and one thing that Eric and I are working on, um, yeah, Tash said anybody can be a super user. The key is to be a hub. Yeah, I mean, you want to be a hub in many different ways. You want to be a hub of activity. You want to be a hub of, positivity, general usage. You want to be a hub of feedback. I mean, there's so many ways to look at this platform and look at what you can do. Nifty will tell us that ask not what the platform can do for you, but what you can do for the platform. So I think this is a good transition into one thing that I think will be probably one of the number one ways that we get new monthly active users from outside, um, which is something that Eric and I have been working on, and that is getting external communities onboarded. So, I'd love to riff on that a little bit, Eric, and just talk about, what's a good target community, and I think there's a couple different layers to this. Like we as a team are looking for and trying to talk to various communities and onboard them. So we're obviously, I think the biggest one is going to be Thorchain University, and Eric is working hard on that. And we'll hopefully see them onboarded in the next, very soon. But I think what the community can also do is find other communities outside. So like what our community can do is find other ecosystems and communities out there, especially in the crypto space, because that's just an easy, kind of bridge, a gap to bridge for us. Um, so, what can the community do in terms of finding other communities out there? Whether it's, and like I said, this is why I'm starting to frame the MAUs as the value of them based on the market cap. Um, if you think about it this way, like if you onboarded a community and there were only 10 people in that community, I mean, that's $13,000 in theoretical value for the Leo token economy. So Whether it's a community of 10, a community of 100, a community of 1,000, each one of those has a lot of value that they bring to Leo. So, I'll pose this question to Eric and see what you riff on. But, what can the community do to help you, to help us grow this platform and onboard, say one, two, three, four, five communities each month?
Yeah, so the way I look at it, there's two types of communities that we need right now. And one is the crypto focused community or the crypto native community. For example, the ones that for like you already mentioned, the Thorchain University community, which already knows what crypto is, how can crypto improve your standard of life, how can crypto like solve a lot of things for you. And the other one is the content creator kind of community. So you have the crypto one that will become probably your kind of investor being active because they are doing research on the next hot token, or maybe because they want to stay updated with what Thorchain is doing or what Maya is doing, whatever, things like that. And you have the other type of community that is the content creation one that is not has nothing to do with crypto, but will bring life to what we are doing uh, with Hive within Leo, how we are focused on bringing action to the platform because action calls more action, right? So you want people to be active, you want people to feel that the platform is alive, and then you if you bring in that kind of community, and for example, I'm thinking about probably the people on X who write a lot about AI or that write a lot about coding, which doesn't have to do with crypto, but it's kind of related to crypto in some sort of sense. So if you know someone from these communities, and this is exactly why one of the approaches that we had around a year ago when we were paying for users blue check marks on X, one of the things that we asked them was stay focused with the communities that you are familiar with or that you are interested in. So, for example, if you are a writer, a science fiction writer, yes, of course, get involved with the crypto communities, but also stay involved or get involved with the community. With the science fiction community. This way, you will have this sort of connection with them, and eventually, when you are part of that community and we are ready for this huge onboarding, you will be able to just say, hey, I know about this. Maybe you want to make it happen. It doesn't take anything from you, just being active. And then you have these two types of communities converging on Inleo, the one that can invest in the token and is in there because of the value, and the one that is in Leo because they like the environment, they like the ecosystem, the engagement, meeting new people like-minded people. So if I had to tell the users, the Lions from the community, how they could help us onboard more people, if you know anyone on any type of community, written blog posts, articles, any kind of community that already exists, and you think, hey, maybe they could create a community on Hive through Inleo, then reach out to me or reach out to Sunseeker or even Carl and tell us, hey, this is a good potential community. How can we onboard them? And we will find a way. The thing right now is that we are focused a lot on finding these communities, but it takes time. So if you are already part of any community like this one, just reach out to us and help us onboard them.
Yeah, it's really crazy to think about what could happen if we onboard, a handful of really active communities because, you know, one community can literally bring 1,000 users with it. And, I think it solves one of the biggest problems with onboarding new users to the Hive blockchain in general, and to the Inleo platform is you're it's almost like you're walking into a brand new, it's almost like you're moving to a new neighborhood, and when you move to like, let's say you live in one country and you're moving to a completely new country and a completely new neighborhood in that country. Are you more likely to make that move and then also stay there if you move with some friends and family, or are you more likely to leave or, check out that neighborhood, just visit, and then go back home to where your friends and family are? And when you think about it in that way, when a whole community gets onboarded, it's like a group of friends, a group of family members are all moving at the same time, and they're all going to this new place and exploring this new place at the same time. And it gives people a lot more confidence. It gives people a lot more excitement and joy. And it takes a lot of the fear out of it, I think, which I do think is a huge problem with onboarding people to Hive. Um, when people come in here completely fresh with no connections, with no real understanding of how the platform works, it can be a scary thing. It can be a lot to learn. And I think that that's one of the hardest problems for us to solve, and communities solve it because, like I said, now you're coming with, 10 of your friends who you interact with every day online, and you're all still interacting with each other in very much the same way you've been doing it on X, but now you're just interacting in another way, and you're able to earn rewards and do all the things on Inleo that you can do that you weren't able to do before. Um, and the cool thing about what we're trying to achieve is that we're not saying that you need to drop X and then use Inleo instead of X. I mean, I still use X on a very regular basis. A lot of times I'll scroll Inleo and X side by side on my computer. Because I like seeing, I like seeing the news, and I like seeing the information that's on X that hasn't made its way to Inleo yet. Obviously, there's a lot more users there. About 500,000,000 according to Elon, and it's nice to have both. And I think that what we're trying to explain to people, especially other projects and other ecosystems out there and communities, is that they can just use Inleo in conjunction with what they're already doing. And by doing that, it just adds more value to their community. So, if you're, for example, if you're a project, let's say that you're, Maya Protocol, and you're writing your blog post updates on Medium, why not just copy and paste that blog post and also publish it on Inleo? And then, I mean, I don't think the Maya team or any real team out there cares all that much about the blog post rewards, but they are earning blog post rewards. But I think the more important thing is they're getting a lot more engagement. Like if you look at Medium posts from most projects, I mean, I would say like the largest projects are getting like 50 comments, but the vast majority of projects are getting maybe 0 to 12 comments. Like it's very low engagement. It's more just like, hey, we're putting out, it's like a one-way bullhorn. Like they're putting out an announcement and they're not hearing any feedback. They're not getting much engagement at all. Versus if that project were to come to Inleo, and like if Maya Protocol came to Inleo right now and copy pasted their Medium blog post on Inleo, I think it's a virtual guarantee that they get over 50 comments just from the Inleo user base. And then if they were also to tell their community, hey, if you guys comment and give us feedback and leave a valuable comment on this blog post, obviously you have to sign up using like your X account or something to Inleo, but sign up and then leave a comment, and the Inleo team and our team will upvote your comments, and then you'll actually earn rewards for giving us feedback and engaging with our blog posts that we put out, once a week or whatever their schedule is. They could be getting 100, 150, 200 comments on their blog posts. I think the last blog post from our team got like 50 or 60 comments. So it I think this is going to be a really key way to onboard other projects and other communities. And there's just so many different layers of value to using Leo in conjunction to, normal, call it Web2 media. It's just a whole nother way. All these projects if you think about crypto projects, and I'm talking about crypto projects right now, not necessarily just communities, but communities kind of fit in here as well. The number one problem of all projects in this space is getting their message out to their current user base and their potential user base. So Inleo is another tool for them to do that. And if we can properly explain that to them and make the onboarding process seamless, then there's no reason why we shouldn't see dozens of projects start to post their updates here in conjunction to the other places that they're already posting to. Ahmad Manga said TikTok's on Leo question mark. That is what Leo shorts are, and we are working on it right now. So I will leave the tech talk for the AMA, but we are working on video, and I think video is going to have a huge impact on engagement in general. I mean, I know that like if I were using Leo and I could just take out, Inleo.io, press a record button on a thread, record a quick 60-second video and post it all in one place, I would be doing a lot more of those. So Tasker, so why don't you pull the news from X onto Leo? We're kind of doing that with news to threads. I know that Task is a pretty heavy user of that. I would like to see more people using that, but I think there's a lot of ways that we could be pulling more news. If you actually look at my profile feed of threads, I pretty frequently screenshot tweets from X and I just post them on Inleo. Not even sometimes I add context and sometimes I just straight up post a screenshot because I think if it's like valuable news there, it's valuable here. So you guys could be doing that. A lot more people, it doesn't just have to be me doing that. Godfish said a floating FAQ akin to the one on ecency could help newbies understand the basics. Yeah, I have on the roadmap, I have I grew up playing a lot of video games and I've got something on the roadmap, which is a tooltip system. So when you first log into Inleo, it would basically like if you've ever played a video game and they have like tooltips when you first start, it kind of like highlights a certain thing and then there's like a little bubble and it tells you what that thing does and it says click here to try it now. And it's kind of like a little walkthrough tutorial. So I have that on the roadmap to be built. And then I also have the idea that we could add a little reward to it so that like if you go through the whole tooltip process, which might be like, it might take you 5 minutes to go through it or whatever. You get like 10 Leo power staked to your account, something like that. And that could be an early way for people to kind of get an initial like dopamine rush from getting a little reward in the form of Leo. And then they also simultaneously learn the platform and learn how to best use it. And it would take them through like what an upvote is, how to reply, where the long form is, how to look at the long form, where their profile is, how to see the different sections of their profile, how to check their wallet, and all sorts of how to stake Leo, like all sorts of like really basic things that are really normalized to us, but are foreign to everybody else. So again, what I mentioned earlier about onboarding people and watching how they use the site, it's really valuable to learn to kind of see it through a beginner's eye because we've all been on Hive and we've been on Leo for so many years now. We think of these things as being really trivial, but to a brand new user, the idea of like, oh, I have a wallet and then I earn tokens and then I can stake those tokens and then I can unstake those tokens, or the more tokens I stake, the more my vote is worth. Like voting power percentages. There's literally hundreds of things you can do on Inleo that are completely foreign to people that have never used Hive ever. So it is really fascinating to watch people use Inleo through the beginner's eye. And I've gotten a lot more active asking people, just even random people in real life. I just say, hey, open this website and then like do a couple things on it and let me watch and see how your mind kind of processes what's going on. So that's been really valuable. Ahmad Manga, I don't see how Hive or Inleo will be a better alternative than X Medium or their own website for sending messages to their users. I disagree. I think, it's like I said, you go to a lot of these projects, Medium blog posts, and they're a complete ghost town. I think I could probably find you 100 examples in under 5 minutes of blog posts that a lot of these teams make that go completely unnoticed and with no engagement. So I think engagement and valuable feedback and that kind of engagement loop is something that Inleo has that no other platform has out there. Like Medium doesn't have it, X doesn't really have it, and that's something that we should be leveraging.
Yeah, I mean, probably, Ahmad, I kind of get where you're coming from, but if you think about Medium or their own website for news, I mean, X is a separate thing because you have the crypto people there, so it's become like a crypto hub, so it's going to be harder. But to replace Medium and to replace their own website as their main source of news or main form of informing their users or their community or their investors of what's happening, you actually have want to be on a Web3 platform because it aligns with your foundations and it kind of kills the vibes of, okay, so you're a crypto project, but you're using a centralized Web2 platform to share your news. That doesn't really make sense. The thing is, people don't really know about these alternatives, and it's hard to reach them in general. But what I've seen is that every single person that I have told, hey, would you prefer to use Medium instead of like would you prefer to use Inleo instead of Medium for your articles or for your news? They are like, yes, I would because it's Web3. Let me just check with my team. And of course, things take time, especially when you have this history of 2 years of sharing stuff in one place, then moving, it's hard. But people and projects are actually open to do it. And I know of an example, a very good example of Linktree is very popular with any type of project because it allows you to have a lot of links in one place. And there's a Web3 or a crypto-based Linktree alternative, and projects are slowly, very slowly moving to that alternative. Why? Because it's crypto, it's Web3. So they actually want to support that kind of thing. So I do think it's a good alternative. I do think that projects will actually consider moving to Inleo for their news, for publishing all of their news and announcements. It just takes time to reach out to all of them, especially because there's like a million new tokens every single month. So you want to reach out to the correct ones, but they're big, so it's hard to reach out to them. So it is a feedback loop. So it just takes time, but I do think it is the way.
Yeah, I agree. It's if it was easy, there would be a lot of alternative platforms that are succeeding in a big way. So it's clearly not an easy thing. What we're attempting to do here with the vision of what Inleo is going to become over the next, 5, 10, 15 years, that's not an easy thing to achieve. So we're building an ecosystem that is a real fundamental change in the value structure and ownership. So the fact that you guys are able to use the platform, earn stake in the platform, and then there's all these different value capture models that are in place where the Leo token can capture value from every single user and piece of activity out there. This is a completely unique setup and a unique ecosystem. Um, so it's a lot to explain to people. I mean, Eric and I have spent a lot of time talking to people from the outside and explaining to them what we're about and what we are and how it all works. And I would say 90% of the time or more, people are like, they can't even believe that all this stuff is reality, like that it's been built. It's not just something that we talk about, like this is what we want to do. It's like, no, this stuff exists. Like we've built it. Um, I think one of the biggest examples was Thorchain University, Baloney Bones. After the space that we did, I actually sent him a link to the Threadcast, and he was like, "Holy shit! I had no idea there was a Threadcast where there's live feedback coming in from the audience." And you're like, and then I was like, "Yeah," and you like upvote all the audience members, and they're earning crypto for their engagement. Um, and he was like totally surprised, had no idea that it was there. And then I felt bad that we didn't tell him about it before the show. But I mean, it was just like, so I mean, when we line up a show, there's just so many moving pieces. So it was just something that we kind of forgot to tell him about. And then a lot of times, the guest is more interested, like they're kind of focused on speaking. They don't need to have another distraction. It is a little distracting to like read a threadcast and talk at the same time. Sometimes you can see me like I'm talking and then I'm reading your thoughts in the threadcast and then getting distracted and losing my train of thought. Um, but it's really fascinating. Like people see this and then they realize that there's a lot of value here. We just did that space yesterday with Starkers and Alex, the founder of Maya Protocol, and then Starkers, you guys know him. He's the founder or co-founder of ThreeSpeak. And Starkers was in the Threadcast and he was upvoting you guys. And he was like, he actually was talking about how far Threadcasts have come because he was there for some of the early Threadcasts. And if you guys remember as well, they've gotten a lot better. They're a lot like they're pretty much 100% smooth now. I would say like I don't really run into any errors while I'm using them. So they've gotten a lot smoother. They're a lot more engaging. They're real time. And then you can just keep upvoting, and it's just Threadcasts have come a really long way. And Starkers was even talking about how surprised he is at how really how amazing and how smooth it was working while we were live on air. So it's and we're at 200 comments right now in this Threadcast. I'm pulling out, questions. We're talking to each other. It's it's really, really incredible. So I think, we've talked about how communities are going to be a growth center. I think Threadcasts are a really under leveraged growth center for us. And I want to see us leverage them more. Um, there's a lot of people out there who do spaces of all sizes, like some spaces with 100,000 users that are live in the X space, and some spaces that have 30 users. And I think we should be going after all of those space hosts and asking them to do a threadcast. And then we can, if a space host comes over and they do a threadcast, I'm sure Taskmaster will be in there upvoting, curating, engaging. I know many of you will also do the same. I would do the same. I'll jump in and I'll upvote every single comment in that threadcast. This is another tool for growth that I think we need to really leverage. I think the hard part for us right now is how do we get the X Space host convinced that they should run a threadcast while they're live on X Spaces? It's a very low friction thing. Like, I mean, all they have to do is sign up to Inleo with their X account and then make a threadcast, and then we'll promote it. Our team will promote it and our community will promote it. And then while they're live on X, they can tell people, and you can actually pin the threadcast. And I'm just realizing that we forgot to pin the threadcast on our X space right now. But they can actually pin the threadcast while they're live on X, and then they can tell their audience, hey, just click that pinned link, and then you can sign up using your X account and then leave a comment, and I'll upvote you for 20 cents or something. And every time you leave a comment, I'll upvote you for 20 cents. And then we can make that happen as a team by upvoting behind the author. So I really think that that's going to be another, in conjunction with the community's idea, I think that's going to be another leverage point for us to go from, the 1,300 MAUs right now to 10,000. You could imagine a good X Space host onboarding 100 people during his X Space, his or her X Space. Like if they're live on air, and then they tell their audience, hey, go over here and I'll upvote you, and then I'll give away $100 to one person in the audience. Like, we actually tried to do that with Ice and Breads, if you guys remember at the start of this year. And I think that we had a lot of bugs that needed to get fixed, and we had a lot of onboarding issues that needed to be solved in order to really leverage the onboarding. So um, so yeah, I think now that those things are fixed, we should again go back after people like Ice and Breads, and see what we can do with them, and really try to leverage that. I think Bologna Bones is going to be a big ticket item for us. So Eric, I don't know if you got any info for us on Thorchain University or any updates on that front.
Right now, no. The last thing I heard was that they were polishing the last details. This was probably like 5 days ago. I usually don't. I try to not write them a lot, even though I really want to know what's going on, because to just try to let them do their own thing. But I'll poke them on Friday to see where things are at right now.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think I mean we've talked about that, and we're pretty confident that there's going to be around 2,000 to 4,000 users that come to Inleo from Thorchain University. So um, definitely excited for that. And also I've been around Thorchain long enough to remember when Thorchain University originally launched. It was actually called LP University. So I'm excited to see them come over, because it's a really cool project. Baloney, if you guys missed it, we did a space and threadcast with him. I actually don't think we've posted a recording yet. because we were waiting on the audio. So that recording, I'm going to take a look today, but hopefully that recording will go up in the next day or two, or maybe it's already up. I don't know. You can check the YouTube. If it's not up yet, it will be soon. Um, so that was definitely a good one, and I think their user base is going to be a really they have a really strong user base of people that love to create and engage with content. So they are like one of the most perfect onboarding opportunities for us. So kudos to Eric for really locking that in. Let's see here. How about this is from Godfish? How about reaching out to the Splinterlands players? There are thousands of real players besides all those bots. They already have accounts and familiar with L2 tokens, have a bit of high power, some kind of in-game announcement. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Eric and I can think about some things we can do. I mean, obviously Matt, Yaba P Matt is very friendly to us. He's the biggest LP in the Hive Leo liquidity pool on Hive Engine. And he's just generally an awesome dude. And he's always been really friendly to Leo. So yeah, maybe we can figure something out to reward their players for engaging more on Inleo. Maybe a good idea would be, because I know that they do tournaments. So maybe a good idea would be find a lion who's also a Splinterlands player. I know that there's some out there. Maybe you could live host like kind of like a broadcast host for like esports, or for like basketball or something. Be like a live host of like moderating a Splinterlands tournament. And what is the word I'm looking for? Like a comment, like a sportscaster, like a commentator. You could run a threadcast, you could do a video live stream, or just an X-Space audio, and you could talk in real time about the Splinterlands tournament. I'm not really sure how the tournaments work and how they unfold. I'm not a player. But maybe there's a way that you can like do a live casting of a Splinterlands tournament, and then Splinterlands users and players could come into the Threadcast, and then you can upvote all of them, and then let us know when you do those Threadcasts. Obviously, we'll see them at the top as well, and then we'll upvote all the engagement within the Threadcast. So if you're a Splinterlands player, maybe that's a really good way for you to build up some more engagement. It's called a
Yeah, and it
shoutcaster, according to Simple Game.
yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense because you have all of these communities, and let's not just talk about Splinterlands, but any other community out there, gaming community, crypto community, whatever. You have all of these communities engaging on Discord every day on a daily basis. So it kind of makes sense to try or want to move that to the blockchain. Of course, if like we as crypto bros, we have this mentality that actions on chain cost money, but that's not the case on Hive. That's not the case for Inleo. So if we manage to, I mean, it's a change of culture, so it's going to be hard, but if we manage to convince people that not everything on chain costs money to be on chain, then we might actually have something great for this kind of thing. And I'm just mentioning this because I started thinking about how the Splinterlands community is very active on Discord. They used to have this Maverick chat. They have this marketplace chat. They have the general normal chat. So there's a lot of things going on every Discord for many crypto projects. So it just makes sense, to actually exploit that Web 2 opportunity that we have with this Web 3 alternative. So just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of, as you can see, I mean, I think we've got a lot of opportunities in front of us, and that's what this show is about. It's about talking through these opportunities. I mean, I've already got like four more ideas for things that we should be doing. So Eric and I will be talking about those, and how we can grow from them. So we've been live for almost an hour. We got about 5 more minutes. Eric and I were talking that we wanted to keep this to an hour. Because we're doing so many shows now, we don't want to be live 24/7, 365. So let's close this out by going rapid fire through a couple questions that I've pulled out. I opened some in a new tab from the Threadcast so that we didn't miss them. So I just want to go really quickly through some of these. Um, from Godfish, he said, I believe they have Twitch shows for some of the tournaments, or at least I noticed some. Yeah, I thought the same thing back when I was more active on Splinterlands and actually played and stuff. I thought so too. I thought there were some broadcasters who did Twitch shows. So maybe Eric and Sunseeker and Idiosyncratic can figure out if there's anyone, or if you guys know of any, drop a link to one of us and let us know, and then maybe we can get those broadcasters to do a threadcast in conjunction with their live stream that they're already doing, because they're already doing a live stream. They've already got a Twitch TV chat. Like I said, I think there's no reason why they shouldn't be also doing a threadcast where they can upvote and curate their community, especially because Splinterlands is a kind of like a cousin project to us by being on the Hive blockchain. Taskmaster said, I'll be doing a movie night in a couple weeks. It will be a video posted in the Threadcast. We can all watch it together and discuss it. It was an idea I had a few months back, but didn't get around to. Yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. I think there's just so many. I mean, we've been talking about this now for like the last 2 weeks. There's just so many different use cases and ideas for various Threadcasts that you guys can be doing. So, we'll keep building the tools if you guys keep using them. And I've got some ideas for Threadcasts in general from a technical perspective, to add some new features and things that are cool. So expect some updates to Threadcasts in July that will make them even more engaging. Taskmaster said Threads is the greatest engagement tool that Hive has ever seen. I agree. I think it's really fascinating to see how Threads have grown. We all were excited about Project Blank for so many years, and I obviously was talking about it and developing it behind the scenes, and it was a difficult nut to crack because nobody had ever done it before. But we've built something now that is, microblogging at scale on the blockchain, in a way that I don't think any other platform has. You can't microblog at the scale that we're doing, really anywhere else. So it's definitely been cool to see it grow, over the years. Big Van said we also need a community that talks about politics, sports, and health. This would help too. I agree. I think who was I talking to yesterday? I think I was talking to Idiosyncratic yesterday, about how the photographers community is really exciting to me, and I see Sergio Mendez is in the X space. That community is really interesting to me because we've been tackling this problem where people think of Leo as only crypto and finance because that was the original branding on Hive for us was obviously Leo Finance. And then when we rebranded to Inleo and released Threads, we became more open to any type of content. So now, whether it's long form blogging or Threads, you can post about any subject. It doesn't have to be crypto and finance. It doesn't have to be, a 1,000 word blog post. You can post pictures. You can post anything that you want. So one thing I'm excited about with the photography community is that, and you can see right now it's the #1 trending tag on Threads. I know that Sergio is going after it in terms of engagement. So, what we're seeing is as this community grows, the photography community and the photographers community, people will see it and be like, oh, wait, I thought it was only crypto and finance. And then they realize because that community is doing so well, oh, wait, now it's actually opened up. So it's actually kind of like built-in marketing for us in a certain way to change that narrative. Ahmad Manga asked earlier about the Thorchain University community and how we're onboarding them. I think we already answered that. Ahmad Manga also said Leo builds the tools and the Lions use them. Exactly. That is definitely the idea behind Leo. We can all be a great channel for onboarding people. It depends on our understanding of what the vision of Leo is. That's from Vic Van. I've been working on kind of like a new master plan, an updated vision statement for what Leo is and is meant to be in the future. And I've actually got it sitting on my desk in front of me. I printed it out. I'm going to probably release it as a blog post. I know I've been talking about releasing it for the last couple of weeks. I'll probably release it in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? Who knows when? But soon. I will be releasing an updated vision. What else we got? I'm down to two more. Hive communities or external communities from Ahmad Manga. That was from earlier when we were talking about onboarding communities. Both. So there are a lot of Hive communities that aren't using Inleo. So you've seen the new community wars and battles. And I'll need to talk to the ops team about how that's going in terms of the wars and battles. But I do want to start posting updates about that on threads from the Leo growth account. We should start posting updates about how those communities are doing. So we're trying to grow engagement and usage from existing Hive communities because that's obviously already local. And something that Taskmaster has talked about as well that I've seen is that, you don't want people coming here and seeing a ghost town. You want them to come here and see that there's a lot of engagement, a lot of vibrance to the platform already. So to get that initial engagement and vibrance, we need to leverage the people and the communities that are already here. So it's important that we onboard Hive communities, but it's also important that we onboard external communities. So my answer to that is both at the same time and with equal force. Godfish said onboarding a community as a whole is actually a brilliant idea. People are reluctant to change, and a change of a platform is a huge one. Yeah, I think I kind of answered that with my analogy of moving to a new country and a new neighborhood. When you move by yourself, I would say it's a lot more daunting of a thing to do versus when move with some family, move with some friends. It really changes the dynamic of it. So I think onboarding a community kind of solves that problem because now you're moving with people that you already know. And like I said, we're not actually telling people that they need to drop what they do now. We're telling people use this in conjunction with what you're doing now. Like there's no reason why you can't use both. I use X for plenty of things. I use Inleo for plenty of things. I use them simultaneously. Obviously, we're still growing the Inleo brand. I'm growing my personal brand, on X. You know, I still use YouTube to post videos. The whole idea with all of this stuff is that I'm trying to gain attention so that I can bring them to Inleo. Everybody has their own end goals at the end of the day. For most of these communities and projects, their end goal is to grow their community. So Inleo should be another tool in their tool belt. We're not asking them to throw out their X account or their Medium account and come to Inleo. So I think that's a key thing. But that's all the questions I've pulled. Eric, I don't know if you've got anything else you've seen.
No, probably just mention that it's. I mean, I know that we already have the Wednesday show on Tuesdays, which I didn't have a voice to be on. So sorry about that, guys. But we have the Wednesday show on Tuesdays, the Chain Chatter on Wednesdays, and the marketing in Leo on Thursdays, and the activity on the Threadcast has 100 and almost 200 comments. So that's amazing. You guys are the what's the word? The hardcore kind of lions that we need to bring Leo to the next level, to bring in Leo to the next level. So thank you very much for being here. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe write your feedback in the Threadcast, but would it make sense? Like, I don't know how many people in your family are on in Leo, and I don't know how many people are into making content and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure that everyone has a cousin or an uncle or a nephew that would be interested in either creating content or uploading short videos, since we're already gonna have the shorts feature in a couple of weeks, or threads, or maybe even just being active, reading other people's posts. But would it make sense to make a kind of competition where you just whoever brings in one user, a real user, gets something, and maybe we can get 200 people. The we have 250 people with premium, right? So all of these people are of their interest. It's in their interest to grow Leo. So would it make sense to make a competition like this one? I don't know. Just drop your feedback in the Threadcast, and we'll be reading. Or maybe if you have any other ideas about that, that would be awesome as well.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely drop your ideas. And there from a technical aspect, I'm working on that new leaderboard, which should be live hopefully by the end of the month, maybe early July. Um, and one of the aspects is that you'll earn it changes everything with the leaderboard, and then you'll earn points each month. And one of the best ways to earn points, one of the things that earns the most points is referrals. Um, and I have this idea. I think I was kind of bouncing it off of idiosyncratic in the ops channel. Um, that the monthly leaderboard will essentially turn into like an ongoing challenge. And when you onboard someone, a percentage of the points that they earn forever in the future will be added to your points every single month. So it kind of creates like, it actually is kind of modeled after like a multi-level marketing scheme. But obviously we're not selling anything, so it's a little different. But it's like one of those things where like every person you get and then every person they get adds to all of your points every single month. So you could imagine that like some power user could come in, like say like an influencer comes in, like any size influencer. Let's just use like ice or breads as an example. Let's say that an influencer like them comes in and they onboard like 100 users, and those 100 users are active every single month, and they're also a little active every month. Potentially because they onboarded so many people, they could outdo in terms of points, they could outdo someone like Taskmaster, which who would Taskmaster is likely to get a lot of points on his own, but may not refer as many users. So someone who's referring a ton of users who then become active could start to really dominate the leaderboard under a setup like that, where they're earning a fraction of the points earned by all the people they onboarded. So Fred is asking what are the points redeemable with. So I think what's going to happen, I don't think you're going to redeem any points. I think you're going to have like a lifetime points. You're going to have a monthly points, and then you're going to have like daily points earned. So it's going to be something like that, maybe weekly. We'll figure out the details of that later, but you're going to earn these points, and then I don't think you're going to redeem them for anything, but I think what we're gonna do is every month we'll give out like prizes, kind of like LPUD, but we'll give out prizes to the people with the most points. So we'll figure out some way to reward people based on points. But this is the whole idea behind the leaderboard. And then I also think we could do cool things when we integrate NFTs, so that when people are consistently dominating the leaderboard and earning, maybe after you earn 50,000 lifetime points, you get like a 50,000 badge of some kind, and it's actually an NFT that's tradable and gives you powers. We've talked about NFTs in the past, and how we're going to leverage them in the future. So this is just another way to kind of bring that in. Um, Godfish said there are people trying to scam others for 20 cents they earn on an introduction post. I witnessed a chain of such accounts. I'm afraid that this could generate similar fake traffic. Well, I think what at the end of the day, traffic is traffic. Uh, and as long as it's not abusing and taking away from other people, I think that it doesn't really matter. So, if someone comes in and they're somehow finding a way to game the leaderboard and abuse it so that they're number one every month, but they're not bringing in real new users, then we could easily just blacklist them from the leaderboard. So then they no longer would earn points. It's like I said, unless they're hurting other people and taking away from other people, I don't really see it as a problem, because engagement is engagement, users are users, traffic is traffic. When we get the new ads platform live, all traffic is good traffic. So um, yeah, I mean, it's really just a function of if you're stealing something or taking something or like earning from a fixed pool of rewards, and you're doing that in a way that is abusive, or some other form of that, then we can find a way to police that. But you definitely want to be careful with, and Eric's talked about this too, we're such a small platform. You want to be careful with creating too many rules and abuse, and like abuse policies. We're such a small platform. It's like I said, every single MAU is worth so much to us that, creating too many rules is just not valuable, I think, at this stage. Leave the rule making to platforms like X that have, 500 million users.
Yeah. And even then, I mean, like since the moment Musk took over X, his main focus, it doesn't matter if he's achieved it or not, his main focus is just get rid of the bots, but stop policing or stop micromanaging how users behave. As long as they are not posting something bizarre or something exaggeratedly offensive, just let people do their thing. And I do think that this is the way to go. Even like if I was, this is a very funny thing to approach this, but if I was the CEO of Hive, I would pretty much just allow anyone to do whatever they want. I wouldn't police anything, but the really, really offensive or the really, really, call to violence or things like that. And even then, it would be up to the front ends to not show it. But as the blockchain itself, like people could do whatever they want, right? Of course, Taxmaster is going to tell me that if I would be the CEO of Hive, then he wouldn't be on Hive because it wouldn't be centralized. It would be a centralized entity, whatever. Yes, but to bring my point home, you want to police as less as few as possible or as little as possible and let the community rule itself. So, but I
Yeah,
mean
let the
that
community
that's
rule itself. I think that's a really good message.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Tasker said the platform needs traffic. Who cares what it is at this point? That's exactly my point. As long as it's not, and I think that's Eric's point too, as long as you're not taking something away from other people, I don't see why it matters. You know what I mean? Like who cares? Who cares if someone creates a train of, 1,000 bot accounts and they're creating random posts? As long as they're not taking away from other people, who cares? Um, so if those thousand, if someone creates a train of 1,000 bots and those bots are suddenly like flooding the platform with garbage, or like, something that we don't want to see, or they're like trying to scam the rewards pool in some way, then we can police it. But if they're just doing it and there's no benefit to them and that benefit's not coming from other people's pocket, then who cares? Task Force just said, don't upvote them. Yeah, I mean, it's as a community, it's your job to police that. And there's downvotes. So you guys can hit the three dot menu. Like, let's say someone comes in and they start upvoting themselves and abusing, making all these threads and just upvoting themselves. You guys can literally just go in and downvote all of their threads. And now they're not getting anything for that. They're just wasting their own time. So,
Yeah, but you know what? Even then, and I was thinking about this like 2 hours ago because I saw how one of our community members, which you probably know who that is, he just completely nuked a person's account because they were extracting rewards from the community from the reward pool, and the person was getting like $3 per post, and he was posting like twice a day. So that's what $6 a day. So that's $42 after curation. That's $21. Half of that is liquid, so it's really like $10.50 a week as for abuse. And that the person got all of their posts nuked to zero. And then that person stopped posting around 12 days ago. And then you start thinking, okay, so is that user worth 1050 or $1,300? Like you ran the math. So are you willing to pay from the reward pool $21, but have a user that means there's activity, that means there's engagement, there's a potential buyer, there's a potential I don't know, problem solver for a newbie, whatever. There's you are building community, right? So you have this, and then you have to realize how much are you willing to pay. The reward pool is there to increase activity, to allocate the token to different people, right? So what's worth more, the $10 that the user is extracting according to you, or the activity that that person and to finish off, then you have to ask yourself, do you like, if Hive has 10,000 users and you push away one person because the inflation that is going towards that person, you don't align with whatever that person is receiving, then how do you think about all of the rewards, the yield rewards or the staking rewards from other blockchains that you can easily just get the same kind of yield in another blockchain just by staking. So you're now asking a user to be active and have this DPoS system and show proof of brain and post something and then earn something, whereas people could just get that from another type of engagement. Then how do you really want to allocate your inflation? And this is exactly what I'm like, just to finish off. You want as many users, and it doesn't matter how they are earning the tokens. And it doesn't matter really if they are abusing according to you and you want to downvote, whatever. Just ask yourself, is the $5 that we are paying from the reward pool worth the activity? If that means yes, then I don't think that you should downvote that person, even if you think they are milking the reward pool. So that's just my two Leos. Uh, I don't think downvotes are the way for a platform so small or for a blockchain so small. I think downvotes are flawed, but maybe we can talk about that in the next town hall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a topic that gets a lot of attention, both positive and negative. Downvotes are probably one of the most politically charged. If you took a list of politically charged words you could say on Hive, I would say downvotes is at the top. Um, and I saw one good question just to leave us off, but we were running way over. So let me just say this and then we'll jump. Nifty said, when NSFW content filtering, been ranting about it for years. It's going to drive more activity. We need numbers, we need growth. Let the policing happen organically. Tasser said, agreed, I will double my threading on that. I'm sure Nifty and Task have a lot of NSFW content to post. But yeah, it's in all seriousness, it is something on my mind. It's on the roadmap, designed in a way that I think is really, I think it really solves for NSFW stuff. Twitter actually does a pretty good job of it, and there is a community of NSFW on Twitter. Not saying that I spend a lot of time on that, but I know that it's there, even if you don't want to see it. And there's settings in your settings page where you can choose not to see it if you don't want to. So, I mean, personally, I use X more for like news and like financial content. But there's plenty of people out there who have all their own specific use cases for X. And really the goal of X and the goal of Leo is pretty much the same, where you want to give the tools to the users and let them decide what they want to see and what they don't want to see. So my design for NSFW is that if you tag something hashtag NSFW, it doesn't show in the main feeds unless someone has it specifically ticked that they want to see it. And it won't be default. It'll be default off. So if you want to see it, you'll have to go to your settings and physically enable it. And basically sign like a terms and conditions almost about it. So there's going to be that. And then there's also going to be a self-policing feature for the community where if you see something that's NSFW and it's not tagged properly, NSFW, there's obviously no way for us to auto tag it. So if it's not tagged properly, then it'll be up to you guys. There will like kind of like the downvote button. You'll be able to click and tag something NSFW if it's NSFW, but the author didn't do it. And then uh, you know, my current design is if a user my current design is that it either takes a user with over like 10,000 Leo power or it takes 3 users with any amount of Leo power to tag something as NSFW that may not be tagged properly. And the reason for that is because you need a way for the community to self-police itself, but you also need a way to prevent other users from abusing the power of choosing what is and isn't NSFW. And I think as the platform grows, we can kind of change that model a little bit.
Yeah, and the cool part is that it wouldn't be censored. It would just be hidden, or maybe just
Exactly.
with the warning of, hey, this is this is NSFW content, but it wouldn't remove it. So that's the key
Exactly.
part.
And Task is talking about how we should copy things from X, and I 100% agree. I think there's a lot of great ideas, and Elon's going to keep innovating over there. One thing he's been talking about is freedom of speech, not freedom of reach. So I do think that that is a great model and framework for us, is that, you have the freedom to put whatever you want on here, but you don't have the freedom for that to be shown to everybody. Very much the same that like you have the freedom to, say whatever you want in America at least, and but you don't have the freedom to have that blasted on every news network. Necessarily like it's freedom of speech, not freedom of reach. So I think we're going to take a very similar model with that. But that all being said, I think this was a good conversation. And I think we've got some ideas. I mean, I definitely got a couple ideas of things that Eric and I can be working on in terms of onboarding communities, getting some Threadcasts going in the Splinterlands ecosystem. I think we should look for some streamers to talk to, and then getting some X influencers potentially to revive the idea of having them do Threadcasts for their X spaces. So those are some things that I'd like to see us kind of get rolling on, um, this week. And like I said, we're at 1,100 miles right now, and the goal by the end of this month is 1,580. So we're going to need your help to achieve that, because I would say we're about 250 off target in terms of like the rolling numbers. So we do need to we need to get busy onboarding. So if you have a friend, if you go on X, if you try to onboard one person, my reminder to everyone in the title of this space is that based on the current market cap of Leo, a monthly active user is worth $1,300. So if you spend a couple of hours getting, a new user onboarded, just think about that as $1,300 added to the market cap of the Leo token. So that is how I will leave you guys. Eric, any closing thoughts?
Honestly, no. I really liked how this went. Uh, yeah, no, not really, but yeah, basically just remember what I asked for from you in the Threadcast. If you think that uh, kind of competition would work, please let us know, because we are really thinking about how to spice things up without having to, this is gonna sound bad, but without having to invest too much money, because the development of the partnerships and all that is the focus right now for us. So give us ideas for competitions.
Absolutely. The community is the power.
Exactly. Let's go.
Oh, Donald Sutherland died. Wow. That's the guy from Hunger Games. I didn't know. I guess maybe he died today. That's
From the Hunger
wild.
Games.
88. Wow, I had no idea he was that old.
Oh, I know that guy. Yeah,
Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. That's also a really good movie, is The Italian Job with isn't that's Mark Wahlberg, right? Or am I
I
making
think
that
so.
up?
Yeah.
I hope I'm not making that up. I think it's Mark Wahlberg and then that one tall blonde chick. Yeah. I'm so bad with movies and names and TV shows. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg and Charlize Theron. Wow. Well, RIP. Taskmaster
Yeah.
said, "See news on Leo. You learned it here first." All right. I think that's a good place to leave it. Thanks, Eric, for joining me. Thanks, everybody in the Threadcast. We will see you guys at the Lions Den tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Taskmaster. Uh, don't forget it. And be in the Threadcast, be active. I'll be curating every comment. So peace out.
See you guys.